Today we're talking about day 22. This is day 22 of switching from Nvidia over to AMD. Now, today's video is going to be a little bit different just because of the fact that I keep getting a lot of comments about, hey, what card should I get? What should I do? And seeing as we're all gamers here, I came from consoles and I came over to PC, and I feel like there's going to be a lot more people transitioning from console over to PC, in especially in this generation. If you look at, like specific things, like Digital Foundry did a video today on Remnant 2, and we're talking like 864p at like 36 frames per second. I do think that there's going to be a lot more people transitioning from console to PC. Like I do. I think people are going to start getting to the point where they're getting sick of it. Everybody's already went out, spent all their money on these 4K TVs for the 4K 120 FPS, all that nonsense. There's a lot of mismarketing going on, from graphics cards to TVs to consoles to everything. And and us as the consumer, we are stuck dead smack in the middle of it, trying to get the best information we can get. Now, this all clicked for me really early today. Now, as you know, yesterday I sat down and I did a benchmark for Remnant 2 running on my AMD 7900 XT, and it was a pretty dang good run. It took me about an hour and 4 minutes. I went through, didn't cut anything, just did each and every resolution using FSR and all of that stuff, just to show you exactly how that card is going to play out with that game with my 5800X. Now, at lunch today, I happened to see Daniel Owen had a video. I was going through the scroll and I saw his video, and he was talking about Remnant and how the developers pretty much designed this game to utilize upscalers. You heard that right. They designed this game to use upscalers so that you could have a stable experience. Instead of optimizing the game, they did confirm this. They did say this with from their own tweety little words, that they designed this game to be used with upscalers so that they didn't have to, so obviously they didn't have to optimize it better for lower end hardware and stuff like that. And he started this video with like a 2060 card, a 3060, then he went to a 4060, then he went to a 3080 12 gig, and pretty much it like blew my mind. I was like, wait a minute, I see exactly what is going on. I figured out exactly what is going on, at least in terms of like the PC graphics card marketing. And this goes for AMD as well. AMD is in on this too, and it's pretty much going to be the same across the board. Now, I'm going to try my hardest to break this down to you so that you understand and know exactly what you're buying. Currently, we have three different display types. We have 1080p, we have 1440p, and we have 4K. Now, there are other displays that are that are widescreen, like your super wides and your widescreen displays that are gonna require a little bit more graphics power to push those pixels and stuff. So we're gonna look at this from the smartest point of view that I think I've come up with yet, and like this will make sense to you by the time I'm done explaining this. Hopefully, this will make sense to you, and maybe you'll understand why people like me that come from the console and buy a 3080 or a 3060 Ti and get right into this like little hamster wheel FOMO mess with Nvidia. This should explain why that happened. So, last generation with the 3080, that card was marketed as a 40 as a 4K card. It was marketed as a 4K card. Last generation with the 3000 series was the first time we ever saw a 90 series. I believe it was like what, 2060, 2070, 2080, but there was no 2090 or whatever. So that's with the 3090 was the first time that Nvidia actively acknowledged that, like, yeah, this is a 4K card. And it didn't make sense, because everybody was still setting the 60, 70, and 80 class cards for what was going on. And Nvidia didn't do anybody any good by trying to explain any of this anyways. So prior every generation going forward, this is what you need to know. The 70 series cards are now 1080p cards, 12 gigabytes of VRAM, and this will make sense to you because ray tracing technology is real and it is demanding and it needs VRAM. It needs VRAM all by itself just to function right. So a 4070 class card is going to essentially be taking over the 60 series as the new 14 or 1080p card. And it sucks that this is the way it is, but this is the way it is, and it's double the freaking price now too for 1080p. 1080p card, 4070, $800, 12 gigabytes of VRAM, 192-bit bus, with your being able to, and this is equivalent to like 4090 blow your mind 1080p graphics processing power. That's exactly what this card is. It is the equivalent of like, this should blow your mind at 1080p every time you play it. And it makes sense when you think about things like going forward, when you start to see the VRAM allotment. They totally screwed up the 30 series cards. So whatever, anything back then, you automatically subtract a resolution, and that's what your card was. The 70 series card going forward, this is how you have to look at it, because this is the way it's going, and this will save you a lot of confusion, and this will give you the right product for the right type of screen that you're trying to use. Now, the 70 series card is going to be your 1080p card. That is a regular 16:9 1080p screen. The 4070 Ti is going to be your widescreen. So you'll still be able to use a 4070 regular for widescreen utilizing DLSS. Like you'll have to use DLSS, possibly to be able to get a high frame rate, high refresh rate experience with that card. And that card should 100% blow your mind at 1080p. Like it should. Is it worth double the price of what 1080p cards used to be? I hear this a lot in the comments too, that the prices just keep jumping up. Well, my friends, I'm sorry to say this, but this is the way it is. And this is the only way it makes sense in my brain is to why things are getting so messed up and there's so much FOMO out there in the PC space. The 70 series card, and this happened to me last generation when I bought the 3060 Ti. Okay, I thought I was like, okay, I was looking at teraflops, and I was like, all right, well, this is 16 teraflops. It's stronger than my Series X and my PS5. I should have a better go at this, And when I got it, I was surprised to see that. Yeah, dude, I'm getting 4K and this and. I'm using DLSS and I'm getting 4K and I'm getting a good frame rate over 60 FPS and all of that stuff. So that right there was tricking me into thinking that I got more out of, that I was getting more than what I actually had. I should have never been trying to play Spider-Man at freaking 4K or 1440p with that 3060 Ti. If I would have put it on 1080p and ran it at max settings, I probably would have been happy. So when you look at this, and this will make sense. Like if you look at 4070, for the 4070 card right now with the 12 gigs of RAM and it having a 192-bit bus, that there's pretty dang good for 1080p and potentially you obviously can blur the lines into 1440p with DLSS and get more bang. It will trick you, but you're also going to notice that your FPS is going to start to lower, so you're going to be like, oh, wait a minute, and then that's going to create that FOMO cycle for you. But if you buy a 70 class card for a 1080p monitor, you are going to be fine. Like you're going to be fine. It's going to blow your mind. And I do got to give Nvidia props for at least giving the VRAM enough on the 1080p card, which is the 4070, to be able to do ray tracing, to be able to do high refresh gaming, and to be able to utilize DLSS 3 and frame generation to push your 1080p display as far as that 4070 possibly can. Now we're going to move over to the 80 class cards, which is the 4080. Now the 4080 comes with 16 gigabytes of VRAM, which should be more than sufficient for 12 gigabytes of VRAM for 1440p gaming, plus the extra 4 gigabytes of VRAM to give you the ray tracing performance that you should get from a 1440p card. Be able to use your DLSS and your frame generation to really push that 1440p to the extreme. Yes, you'll be able to obviously go into 4K and you'll be able to run 4K and you'll be able to use your frame generation and blah, blah, blah. But you're always going to have just over, a 60 FPS experience at 4K. That is not a 4K card. That is, well, it can do it. It can do it, but it shouldn't. It is designed for 1440p. Now, if you look at your, if you look at your 4090, which is 20 gigs for your 4K textures, because they are going to grow. After looking at like some of these new games coming out, these texture packs and all of this stuff is going to grow significantly higher than it ever has before. And you're going to see that. You're going to see that coming up. You're going to see way better textures. You're going to see better ground textures. You're going to see a lot of stuff that's really going to start pushing these cards and really starting to tax them. So your 4090 with the 24 gigs of VRAM should give you your whatever, like up to your 20 gigs for the textures, and then your ray tracing. So, and this goes for the 7900 and the 7900 XT. So essentially my card with 20 gigs is a 4K card. If I wanted the ray tracing at 4K, I should have went with the XTX. And that's how you have to look at it. That extra 4 gigs of VRAM is your buffer for your ray tracing, because your ray tracing is going to consume more VRAM. But when you turn on stuff like DLSS or FSR, it's lowering your resolution from 4K to 1440p, then upscaling it back and giving you back that 4 gigs of VRAM. So in order for me to play anything with ray tracing at 4K with the 7900 XT, I should be utilizing my my FSR or XeSS to be able to do that, to give me back that resolution, so that I can use it to push, so that I can use that VRAM to push the ray tracing. The same goes for AMD cards. 6700 is your 1080p card. 6800 is the 700, the 7000 part is going to be for your 1080p. 8000 is going to be for your 1440p, and the 9000 is going to be for your 4K gaming. Those are the new hierarchy of your cards. And I don't understand why none of these other YouTubers will tell you that. Like, I don't understand why they gloss over this important fact to gloss over, like, oh my gosh, look what I can do with DLSS and frame generation. It's exactly what Nvidia wants these guys to do, but it's not exactly what they should do to be able to help their communities. I take my community very seriously. I do. I always have, and I always will. I take the people that watch my content very seriously, because you guys aren't dumb. And when you see me stumble around and figure things out and bounce my head off a wall and get mad and get FOMO and all of that stuff, I share that with you so that you can see that, look, man, I'm human. I do stupid things. I am a consumer. I am a consumer just like you, with the same anxiety, the same problems, the same frustrations. I'm just like you, man. And I listen to, but I mean, it's amplified because I have the whole community coming back at me too, with suggestions and stuff. And I want to listen to you guys, but sometimes I do have to block it out because I'm already bad with FOMO. They don't call me FOMO Froggy for nothing. Okay, guys. Um, but if once you understand that, that's the new hierarchy, and this is what's really going to blow your mind. Nvidia 60 series and 6600, 6000 series from AMD, those are good luck. Good luck, man. It might work, it might not. We just needed to make something out of these wafers so we didn't waste them. And this is what we're calling them. And good luck. Good luck with your gaming experience, my friends, you cheap monsters. You cheap fellas that want the cheapest price, good luck. You might get a good bang for your buck, you might not. You have to look at anything from a 60 series now down as essentially 1080p, 720p, whatever. You can have a mixture of the both, but and maybe a little bit of 1440p gaming with old games. But that's the thing, man. If you're buying a 60 series class or a 66 series class, a 66,000 series class, or 76,000 series class, you're essentially buying like entry 1080p, whatever. Like, that's what you're buying. You are buying a Franken monster to try to get whatever you can out of it, and you're gonna have to play with your settings, all of that stuff. If you buy that is your Franken monster card. That is, whatever you can get out of that. Hopefully you're happy with that. That's why when you look at these other cards like the 4070, the 4080 and the 4090, they're literally double the price of what they should be. Like you should be paying about 400, maybe 450 for your 4070 class card. Like that's where the price should be at that. But they've doubled that. And it's easy for them to do that because when you buy that 4070 card and you try to run a game at 4K and you're getting over 60 frames a second because you got your frame generation enabled, you're thinking, "Yeah, I got a good deal. I got a 4K card." So it's easy for them to sucker you in there and keep you on that hamster wheel because you're utilizing the technology wrong. You're utilizing it the wrong way, and then you're fanboying about it, and you're trying to make other people FOMO, and and it's not what it is. Like you bought a 1080p card. If you bought a 4070, you bought a 1080p card. That sucks. That's what you bought. And you could push it all you want. I mean, it's your card. You can go home, you can do whatever you want. Whatever results you get with that. But just know that if you bought that card to play on 1440p or 4K, you are going to be seriously disappointed when these new games come out and you're trying to run ray tracing and all of this stuff. You're gonna get yourself into a FOMO mess. So that's why I recommend, if you're getting a 70 series card, get a 1080p monitor because that's what that card's built for. If you are buying a if you're buying an 80 class card, you're buying a 1440p card. It's simple as that. You are buying a 1440p card, and your 4090 is going to be your 4K card. So and here's where things got messed up is because in the 20 series, you had the 2060, the 2070, and then the 2080. Your 2060 was pretty much your 1080p card, but now you've got four, and so now everybody's just like, oh yeah, man, the 4070 should be a 1440p card. And don't tell me they didn't say that because they said that a lot last generation. And oh man, as it turns out, that's a 1080p card now. Them 3070s are 1080p cards. Then 3080s are 1440p cards, and the 3090s are your 4K cards, and anything under that is pretty much good luck. That's basically what it is. It's like, hey guys, we know you 1080p gamers are gonna buy this stuff, so yeah, have fun with that. That 1060 card being the most popular card, yeah, man, a lot of people are still playing at 1080p. Now they're not even going to get a high end experience, a high-end 1080p experience, because they are sticking with the, I wouldn't even buy the 60 series cards. They're 128-bit bus. Those are literally 720p. You want ray tracing and all of that, you're 720p. And that's it might blow your mind at 720p. So I guess they're bringing 720p back. I mean, PlayStation 5 and Xbox are bringing 720p back, so I guess it's okay. That's where you're at. That is the real, that's the reality of where we are with graphics cards now. And it sucks, dude, that a noob like me had to come in and figure all of that out and try to set people straight, because all you hear from any of these other people is magic this, magic that with DLSS or some of the other things that they're using. Like, come on, man. Like, this is getting ridiculous, man. I bought that 3080 thinking like, yeah, I'm going to have a solid, 1440p experience. But with that 10 gigabytes, that trapped me. That locks that card, that 10 gigabyte card to it's under 12 gigs. It's under 12 gigs. New games going forward are going to need 12 gigs, 1080p to give you ray tracing and all of that stuff. That card is essentially the dumbest card ever freaking made. Was that 10 gig. And it sucks. Like, I really do absolutely feel bad for anybody that bought that. I feel bad for myself. I feel bad for anybody that watched my videos and bought that card because I bought it. I absolutely feel bad, but we're not going to get fooled no more on Frogboy X1 Gaming. They don't, I mean, they call me, call me FOMO Froggy, but we're going to fix that. We're going to fix that. We're not going to fall for any more of their nonsense anymore. Like, we know exactly what these cards are. You will never hear me recommend a 4070 card to anybody on 1440p or 4K. You'll never hear me recommend a 4080 card to anybody on a 4K screen. I will not do that. That's no, it's a 1440p card. And they're overcharging for both of them. They're overcharging for both of them. I bought a 4K card from AMD for the same for less money than the 1440p card from Nvidia. Is that 14 is the 4080 will blow your socks off 1440p with ray tracing and all of that. Like it will blow your socks off. It is a solid 1440p card. It really is. The 4070 is a solid 1080p card. It really is. And you get all of the new bang for your buck with that card, but I feel like that is pretty extreme in the price range. You know, people are telling me that my 4K card, my 7900 XT is, I should be comparing it to a 4070. Listen to yourselves for a minute, man. You guys are telling me to compare a 4K card to a 1080p card with frame generation and DLSS. Yeah, I might be able to do those resolutions, but I don't have to use magic on my card to do those resolutions. I can just do them and it's fine and it's a playable experience. I mean, even the 4080 is going to be just a little bit, you know, behind. I mean, your 4080, yeah, it could do 4K, but it's not. Like, I mean, and I'm going to be using this as pretty much a 1440p card, which is kind of underutilizing it, but I can push that a little bit harder and get a little bit more a little bit more higher resolution and downscale it to 1440p. So I feel good about my AMD purchase. I feel like AMD is a lot more for the gamer when it comes to that, because I feel like Nvidia's just got so much out there and there's so much confusion about what's going on with Nvidia right now and these technologies and how they make things look and like the other content creators and all of those guys, they're not doing Nvidia any justice by allowing people to continue to think like that. But hey man, if you're getting free Nvidia cards, what, like, it doesn't hurt you. I mean, it doesn't hurt you, I guess. I mean, like, it just you know, kind of hurts your, it kind of hurts your community. And I take my community very seriously, and I care about you guys, and I care about your pocketbooks, and I care about the things that happen when I buy something and I see you guys FOMO for it, and then you get it, and then things don't turn out to be the way we expected them to be because I'm on a honeymoon phase or something like that. But I put a lot of thought and a lot of effort into this. I watched that video from Daniel Owens, and I seen he was going from, it was for Remnant 2, he was going from the 2060 to 3060 to 4060 to 3080, and you start to see like everything makes sense. Everything makes sense. Like every single one of those cards were 1080p freaking cards. Except for the 3080 12 gig, it was essentially like a 1440p card. And that was the 12 gig model. So it makes sense. Like it puts everything into perspective for you. And you're like, oh, I see. Like these cards are doing good at 1080p, but when you try to do 1440p, they fall apart. They fall apart. The 4060, 3060, all of them, they all fall apart. They're not even 1440p cards. They are 100% next gen. They're 100% good luck. 100% good luck at 1440p. 100% good luck at 1080p. We were talking like 1080p medium settings for these cards, and then using DLSS to make them run. That's when it snapped, and that's when it clicked for me. I was like, oh, I see. These aren't even 1080p cards anymore. They can't run new next gen games at 1080p without DLSS. And another part of why it clicked is because when I was looking at that frame time graph on Daniel's videos, and I was remembering like my video that I did for Remnant 2 across the board with my card from 4K all the way down to 1080p, never once did I see my frame time graph get that out of whack. Never once did it go that crazy. It was pretty straight across the board all the way down. Like it was good. And every step down, my frame rate got way higher. And it was weird to see like at 1080p, my card being utilized at like 99% and stuff. That was interesting to me to see that I wasn't getting bottlenecked on a UE5 game, and no stutter struggle, none of that stuff, you know, like he was talking about, like, oh, that might have just been like shaders loading in. I haven't seen any shaders load in on this. I think UE5 is a lot different when it comes to like shader utilization and stuff, because of nanite. I feel like because there's no pop in UE5, there's no pop in. Like you don't see geometry pop in. As you get closer, you start to see it materialize better. You don't ever see it pop in. And depending on how the lot is set, you'll notice that if you watch my video when you're walking up to that very first billboard, you know, when you get to like 1080p at low settings and stuff, it'll materialize a lot closer to your character as you're walking towards it, but as you set the settings to medium and high and all of that stuff, like it's visible, clearly visible from farther away. And like it made things click for me. It made things click for me that like your 4070 card is 100% a 1080p card. You can push it however you want. You can buy the card, do whatever you want. It's up to you, but you're buying a 1080p card. If you're 4080, you're buying a 1440p card, and your 4090, that's a 4K card. It's got the VRAM allocation to give you the textures and the streaming data and all of that stuff for that for that resolution, which is about 12 for 1440p going forward. And that extra 4 gigs of VRAM for your ray tracing and all of that stuff, so that you have that buffer. And that's more forward thinking. Like I do feel like those cards are more forward thinking for Nvidia, as long as you're sticking to your resolution. They are like that 4070 at 1080p is going to blow your mind for years to come. That 4080 at 1440p is going to blow your mind for a long time. It's only if you start trying to use it as a 4K card where it's going to start falling short, or if you start using a 4070 as a 1440p card, it's going to start falling short, and it just won't be able to do what it needs to do. So there's how you have to look at VRAM allotment going forward. It seems like AMD is still like I feel like they're if their 6700 or their 7700 series comes out and it's still got 16 gigs of VRAM, you got like 16, 20 or whatever, then those cards will probably be able to push like a 1440p. It just depends on your VRAM allotment, where you're going to be able to go, and what experience you're going to have. So if the 77 series comes out and they have 16 gigs, then you're going to be able to look at that and be like, all right, cool, man, this is a 1080p card, but it will push into 1440p territory comfortably. Just depends on how much graphics rasterization power that you have going forward, what type of an experience of 1440p you're going to have. And the same with the 6800 class or the 7800 class cards, depending on how much VRAM allotment is going to be, how far you'll be able to push the rasterization and other things. And once you're like your FSR3 and frame generation comes out, then you'll be able to leap bounds or whatever into other, like, oh, it's bad. Like this magic stuff for this is starting to get a little bit out of hand, and I really wish they wouldn't have done this. I wish that they would I wish that people wouldn't overhype these types of technologies, because yes, they do work. They're there for a specific reason, but I think I feel like they're just getting overhyped, and I feel like people are trying to push these cards into realms that they shouldn't be, and then overhyping because they can. You know what I mean? Like overhyping like a certain thing, because yeah, any PlayStation 4, Xbox One game, yeah, you can blow the doors off it with DLSS. You know what I mean? And then and then you find yourself in a position having to upgrade every 2 years because you bought the wrong card, and we're trying to push it for something that it wouldn't work, and now it doesn't work. And I learned this firsthand with that 3080. So if you like this content, do not forget to like and subscribe. I really do appreciate all of you guys watching these videos and helping this channel grow. So I wanted to do something and give something back and help everybody else kind of figure this mess of a hamster wheel out for PC gaming, because there are a lot of console gamers that are going to start coming over, man. Like there are, and I think there needs to be more content like this to help those people understand what they are buying, because man, I've spent like $7,000 on PC stuff in the last couple of years, and I'm disappointed about it, because I could have had a 3090 whole build. I could have had the whole build. But I kept not doing what I needed to do because I wasn't understanding what I needed to do. So if you like this content, like I said, don't forget to like and subscribe, man. We'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.